Good morning, this is your maths for today. We're doing fractions again, and we're going to carry on with multiplying fractions by integers. Truth be told, we're actually repeating this a little bit because a lot of yesterday's work did not seem to go as well as I believe it definitely could have. If you're not watching these videos all the way to the end, if you're not taking part during the videos and with pencil and paper, you are making it harder for yourself. You are letting yourself down and wasting your own time, really. Then now we're ending up repeating a lesson that, to be honest with you, don't feel we should have had to repeat. But nevertheless, here we are. So let's get started. So here we go. First thing we're going to do today is a warm-up of simplifying. So I'm going to ask you to pause the video in a second and try and simplify these fractions down to their lowest possible form. All right, so go ahead, pause the video now and try that for yourself, and then we'll go through them. All right, I will assume that if you're watching now, you've tried these 4 questions for yourself, and we're now ready to go through them together. Okay. Sorry, I'm having a bit of pen trouble. There we go. All right. So 2 quarters, both are even numbers, so we can halve each one. So we could say 2 halved is 1, and 4 halved is 2. We can't go any further than that. 4/12, again, they're both even. So you could divide by 2 and start off that way. That would be fine, obviously. If you went that way, then you would end up with, first you'd end up with 2/6. But then what you should hopefully realize is that they are still both even. So you could go further and halve them again, and you'd end up with 1/3. So 1/3 would be your final answer. However, hopefully you spotted that the highest common multiple that they have is that they are both in the 4 times table. So if you divide them both by 4, 4 divided by 4 is 1. 12 divided by 4 is 3. So you get straight to the end by using the highest common multiple. 15/45. Okay, so hopefully you've spotted that they both end in a 5, therefore they must both be in the 5 times table. So let's divide them both by 5. So 15 divided by 5 is 3, and 45 divided by 5 is 9. But hopefully you didn't stop there. Hopefully you realized that both 3 and 9 are in the 3 times table. So we can simplify further and divide them now both by 3. So this becomes 3 divided by 3 is 1. 9 divided by 3 is 3. Also a third. Right, 30/36. Again, you could halve because they're both even. So you could do it that way, divide them by 2, and you're going to end up with 15/18. They're both in the 3 times table, so you're going to go again. But if you use the highest common multiple, which in this case is 6, so 30 divided by 6 is going to be 5, and 36 divided by 6 is going to be 6, and that is actually our final answer. So well done if you got all of those and you spotted all the ways to get through them to the final stage. All right, this is what your worksheet is going to look like today. It is largely that, and then there's some problems here which you need to solve as well as an extra challenge which you definitely think you should be able to manage, given that it is converting to the same denominator is the way to solve it, and that's something we've done very, very, very recently in our fractions lessons. So let me take you through now how to solve these questions by using a question from yesterday which popularly didn't seem to go well. And crucially, this because people were obviously, I don't believe, were watching enough of the video from about 10 minutes 20 in on yesterday's work. So we're going to go through it again now today. What a lot of you were doing from having not watched the video was you were multiplying the fraction, but you weren't multiplying the whole number. So to go through this properly, you have a choice of methods, just as you did when you were doing adding fractions. So let's go through option 1. And then eventually I'm going to give you a chance to try all these questions yourselves on pencil and paper. So option 1 is you can do the whole numbers first. That's option 1. So we're going to do 1 times 2. So let's put this, tell you what, let's put this question up here. 1 1/5 times 2. That's the question we're doing. So the first thing we're going to do, as I've said, is multiply the whole number. So 1 times 2, of course, is 2. Now we're going to do the fraction. I can get a different color for that. So remember, we keep our fifths the same. And we're just doing 2 times 1 again. Because it's the numerator is a 1, so 1 times 2 is 2. Our final answer, therefore, we put this together. So the whole thing is 2 2/5. If you consider, if you had one cake and then only a fifth of another cake, and then you suddenly had 2 lots of that, so I hope that now makes sense now why you wouldn't just end up with 2/5, as so very many of you wrote as your answer yesterday. You would have now 2 cakes and 2/5. So that's option 1. So what I'd like you to do is to try option 1 for me to answer B. So let's put it up here. 2 1/6, and we're multiplying by 3. So I'd like you to try option 1 for me now. So the first thing you need to do, multiply 2 by 3, and then times your fraction together and see what you get. Okay, so I'm going to pause the video now, and I'd like you to have a try at answering B. Okay, again, if you're watching this, you've already finished this yourself, but let's see how you did. So 2 times 3, of course, is 6. And now we're going to multiply together the fraction. So 3 times 1 is 3/6. So we end up with 6 3/6. Think back to your warm-up. 3/6. They're both in the 3 times table. So we could actually go further and simplify the fraction. So in the end, we'd actually get 6. Divide both 3 and 6 by 3, and we're going to get 1/3. 6 and sorry, beg your pardon, a half. I beg your pardon. 6 1/2 will be our final answer. 6 divided by 2. By 3, I beg your pardon. I'm having a bit of a morning, it seems. All right. So that's that one. So let's try C together now. And again, we're going to stick with our first option way to do this. So we've got 2 2/5. We're multiplying by 4. Now, I'm going to let you just have a try at this one, but what I want you to remember, when you multiply that fraction together, if you get an improper fraction, you will need to add that with your whole number. Okay? So you're going to need to do 4 times 2 and add that together. All right? Okay, pause the video now, have a try for yourself, and see what you come up with. Okay, I'll assume again, if you're watching this, you've had a try for yourself. Okay, so let's do our whole number first. So 2 times 4, of course, is 8. And now we're going to do the fraction. So 2 times 4 is also 8, and we stay in fifths. Now you see 8/5, that's an improper fraction. 8/5, if we convert that back to mixed number, that's the same as 1 3/5. But we've got an 8 up here that we need to add it to. So the final answer, 8 plus the 1 becomes 9, and we keep our 3/5 from here, and 3/5. Your final answer is 9 and 3/5. Okay, so at this point, I want to bring in your alternative method if you want to use it. And that is the convert to improper method. Again, just like when we were doing adding and subtracting fractions, these were your options. So let's take that same question again. 2 and 2/5. And we're timesing by 4. Now, instead of doing that, I'm going to turn this into an improper fraction. So 2 times 5 is 10. Add the 2 is 12. So I've got 12/5 times 4. So now you follow the same steps as before. 12 times 4 is 48/5. But this is improper, so that's no good. So we need to use division. What is 48 divided by 5? Well, 9 times 5, of course, is 45, and the remainder would therefore be 3. So you see, we end up with the same answer. So whichever route you took, whether you want to do do the whole numbers first, or if you want to convert to improper, either way, you end up in the right place. Whichever you prefer is fine for this, although I will say, going forwards into other concepts around fractions, the converting to improper is a very good skill to have, as it gets you out of a lot of problems in future. All right. What I'd like you to try now, you can choose repeat that bit of the video as often as you like to go over the instructions again if you like, but I want you to try D and E now for me. I'm not going to worry too much about F. Most people got that one correct yesterday, as obviously it's pretty much straightforward. The only annoyance was people not converting back to mixed number with their final answer. So just to quickly get that one out of the way. So you would do 11 times 7. So that got people 77/15, and a lot of you stopped there, which is a real pity, because you should know by now that's not how we leave our answers. And then you would divide 77 by 15, and you would have ended up with 5 and a remainder of 2/15. That would have been your final answer for that one. Anyway, so using one of the two methods, either convert to improper or by doing the whole numbers first and then the fraction and then add them together. Choose your favorite. Try D and E for me now, please. Okay, if you're watching this, it's because you've finished those questions yourself, D and E. So let's have a look together. So let's try, for the first one, I'm going to do, let's do option 1. So let's do the whole numbers version for this one. So 2 times 5, of course, is 10. And then let's do the fraction part. 2 times 5, again, is 10/5. That's improper. So I need to convert that to a mixed number. 10 divided by 5 actually is 2. So if I add that 2 to my 10, the final answer is actually 12. If you had chosen the improper route, absolutely fine, and that would have also been your answer. All right, let's do E, and I'm going to try and do the improper version for this. So 7 times 3.5. All right, it's the same process. I know it's the other way around in terms of the fraction has come after the multiplication sign, but it's actually still the same scale. So 7 times, so we're going to make, sorry, improper, that's what I said, wasn't it? So 3 times 2, of course, is 6. Add the 1 is 7. So this becomes 7/2, and we're multiplying it by 7. This pen is not working. Sorry, 1 second, guys. Right, got that working. Sorry about that. Right, so we do 7 times 7 is where we're up to. So now we do 7 times 7, of course, equals to 49 halves. And now we just need to convert back to mixed number. So 49 divided by 2 is going to get me 24 equal groups, because 24 times 2 is 48. That means I'll have one left over. So 24 and a half is our final answer. Again, if you did the mixed number, if you, the root adding the whole numbers, doing the whole numbers first, multiplying the whole numbers, fine, should have gotten to the same result. All right, let's go back to today's task. We'll do one more example together, then I'm going to show you one of the problems, and then that will be that. So here we go. All right, 8.5 times 2. So pause the video, have a try at 1a for me, and then we'll go through it together. It's up to you. You can either do the improper version or do the whole numbers first. That's up to you. Have a go now, please. Okay, again, if you're watching this, I assume you've tried this for yourself already. So I'm going to do the whole numbers version. All right, so I'm going to do 8 times, let's put it over here actually, just for make it easy. 8.5 times 2. All right, so 8 times 2 first, let's do that. So 8 times 2 becomes 16, and then 1 times 2 is 2 halves. 2 halves needs converting back, so your answer 17. There you go. So 17 goes in there as your final answer. Again, if you tried the improper route, should have come to the same result, but let's just test that. So 8.5 times 2. If we turn it into improper, so 8 times 2 is 16, plus the 1 is 17. So we've got 17 halves times 2. 17 times 2 is 34 halves. And 34, so then we would do 34 divided by 2. That is 17. Again, same final answer. Great. So either method works. Let's have one last look at the problems page. So with these, you just need to do kind of a sort of an opposite. But again, that improper method that I talked to you about and how important it is, that's really going to help you here. So I'll do 2a with you. So we've got 3 times something. And I've left this example for you here, by the way. 3 times something is the same as 2 3/6. Now, we could spend a lot of time just looking for trying random numbers and trying to find a fraction that works. But if we convert that 2 3/6, we could then divide by 3 to find the missing number. So 2 3/6, let's convert that to improper. So 2 times 6, of course, is 12, and then add the 3, so we get 15/6. And we're going to divide by 3, because it was 3 that was in our question. And that's going to give us... So what we're doing here is very similar. So we're just dividing the 15 by 3. 15 divided by 3, of course, is 5. And we stay in sixths. So that's the answer. Because, of course, multiplication and division are the inverse of one another. So that's how you can solve those ones. Again, repeat that as often as you like. You've still got that example there, and you've got a challenge thing there at the end as well to do. All right, let me leave that 5/6 answer in there for you, and then we'll call it a day on this one. Again, go over these steps in the video as often as you need to until it's fully understood. You can repeat them as often as you like. Don't forget to save your work. Any problems, please use the J2 message and we'll talk to you then. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.